we set to go? Okay. If everyone will rise and join me in a moment of silence, please. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to this meeting of the Muncie Community Schools Board, Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. We'll do our roll call. Dr. O'Neill?
Present.
Mr. Heater?
Present.
Mrs. Bales? Present. Mrs. Barnes-Griffin? Mr. Irvin?
Present.
And Mr. Lowe?
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Kwiatkowski?
Well, good evening. My mic on. Good evening. I wanted to share some updates with you regarding our schools. Last night, the seniors had an award ceremony at the field house, and it was just a remarkable evening. I know I saw Mark across the aisle from me, and the students really, when you see them receiving scholarships and extra funding, that's just a great night. I was also very proud to see 23 of our students complete, they're on track to complete a 2 years associate's degree. And so when you think about what that means for those students and their families, that I just could not believe the number of students that kept walking to when they were called to get that. And then 16 of our students are on track for a 1-year technical certificate. So just amazing work. We right now have device pickup going on for, we've done one-to-one, sending devices home. So we're picking up the devices so we can refresh and clean them and get them ready for next year. That's taking place in all of our K-12 schools. VLP pickup begins on Thursday. That's Chuck's next big endeavor. He has spots across the city where they'll set up tents and they'll allow folks to stop by and drop off their devices. And so we appreciate our families making sure those devices get back to us. I wanted to give you an update about Camp Adventure. We have Sarah, who's been providing lessons to our students that are going out to Camp Adventure. We had second graders from all of our schools. Every second grade class had a day out there in the month of April or May. And we've had great stories come back regarding how much fun the students have, how much they're learning. In addition to the lessons that are going on, they get to do fun things like wagon rides and weenie roasts and s'mores and fishing, and so good experiences for kids. So that's been great. By having the second graders go out, that helped us fill up our Camp Adventure spot in June with Ball State University and Stacy Allred. Kids went out there, they had so much fun, they made sure that their parents filled out those applications. So speaking of summer opportunities, we have many opportunities that we've talked about, and Muncie Education Alliance just put out a Remind app that will help our families know about the different opportunities. So if you didn't get that information, it's on our website, and I've sent out a message to all of our families. And then I also wanted to thank the George and Frances Ball Foundation. They provided us a grant opportunity to receive some funding to provide incentives, because we know it's not only important for our kids to sign up, but regular attendance will be important. So we'll be able to do that through some of those incentives. And then lastly, I wanted to share that Caleb was featured in the Moments magazine on a story about social and emotional learning. And so he did a really nice job with that.
Great. Any questions for Dr. K? Questions? Mr. Klotz, any public comments? Sure. Oh, absolutely. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me time to speak before you. My name is Matthew Pfeiffer, and I'm a substitute teacher for the Muncie schools, and I've been for about 1.5 years. I also run a nonprofit here in Muncie called The Voice for Kids. I'm 23 years old, and I was abused for 13 years of my life before going into foster care and aging out. I moved around 8 foster homes in 2 years and never got the opportunity to even graduate with a diploma. I got a GED instead. I actually attended Muncie Central for a few months until my foster parents tried to molest me, and I was removed and put into another home. Nobody at school knew my story, and nobody knew the struggles I faced through my years. But I did, and I struggled in school because of it. Never acting out or anything, but always the quiet one that didn't say anything. And I know I'm not the only one. There are many students who have a difficult home life. Imagine this. A child witnesses a parent abusing their spouse, and police are called, and they take the one parent to jail, and that's the end of it. The child witnessed a spousal abuse, and only that child knows that there is no supports for that child. Nobody at school and that child might have, or a child might have watched their dad get Narcan because of an overdose, but the school doesn't even know about those. The United States started working on a program in 2009 to address this, and West Virginia started this program in 2013 called Handle with Care. And since then, hundreds of different communities around the United States have started this program. This program works like this. Law enforcement officers are called to a scene, and if they see a child present, they fill out a small form. I have a copy of it here with me today. All it has is the school's name, the law enforcement agency, the date and time that an incident took place, and then the child's name and their age. So it doesn't say what the child witnessed, so the teachers would never know what kind of traumatic event had occurred, but they at least know that the child the night before had an interaction with law enforcement, good or bad, and so that way if the child struggles a little bit in that class or in the school that day, then the school will be able to help them. I know I had approached Dr. Kowalski last summer, bringing up the program, and because of COVID, we weren't really comfortable, starting something like that in the middle of the pandemic. So I'm hoping that this summer that's something that the school can work towards, starting this program. It also partners with the mental health services, so like Meridian Services might be able to bring somebody there to speak to a student if they're really struggling in school that day and they feel it's appropriate. I think it would be beneficial. The Muncie Police Department has been on board to discussions since last year when I approached them about the topic. Detective Swanson with the Child Crimes Unit, he's more than happy to enter those discussions with you guys. I also brought a copy of the Memorandum of Understanding between law enforcement and schools, so there's already the paperwork is already wrote up. All it needs is a signature and you guys' discussions with the police department and mental health services. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention. Is there any questions I can answer?
Can I just do a quick
Sure,
response?
sure.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Chuck and I are scheduled in June to meet with our judges, Kim Dowling and Amanda Yanley, and this is the program we're going to be discussing.
Okay, great.
Matthew, how do you spell your last name for me?
P-E-I, F as in Frank, E-R.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to bring this to our attention. So where did you sub this year?
So I stay away from elementary. For some reason, they don't listen to me. I don't know what it is, but I stick to the south side, north side, or the high school. So I don't know what it is about those younger kids, but
Okay.
maybe because the mom's always telling them what to do or something. But once I
Yeah.
go in there, all focus is off.
So, and what's your connection to this program? The nonprofit that you're working with?
Yes, and just hearing about it through the grapevine and doing my own research on trying to help children's lives better and get more supports in the community. I substitute, but I have no idea. I try to talk to the students as much as possible, but I have no idea what their home life is like. So it's just something that I'm passionate about and helping nurture the students.
Do we have any other additional questions for?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so I do a lot of training. So I just trained Head Start last Friday. I trained Head Start, early childhood development. Just going in, sharing my story with them, helping teachers. I went into Miss Bales's and at Ball State and just shared my story and helped the teachers know what to look for a little bit and what I know, how they could notice and pick up signs of abuse in schools, help foster kids get their permit hours, got over 200 foster kids Christmas gifts over the holidays. So just training is probably primarily my biggest thing. I've been into the Muncie Police Department and train all their rookies every time they hire a new group of guys, just about child abuse and interactions with foster kids on traffic stops.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to bring this to us and for your role in the community. We appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. Anything? Please.
Beth Kraler with the Muncie Public Library. I'd like to add to that, we have an after-school program. So we have the kids, so if that goes through and it goes to the school teachers, it would be great if that information gets passed on to any of the aftercare providers, such as at Southfield one time when we had a kid that burned in the building. Our kids knew him, and so we, changed the plans that day. So it would be helpful that it went to any after-school provider as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We will move on to the consent. Please. We have the sign-up sheet?
Yeah, I signed up there. Are you guys ready?
We are.
Okay. Well, obviously, my name's Darek Lee. I'm the head football coach at Muncie Central. Before I got into what I really came to ask about, thank you, I wanted to bring something to everyone's attention as well about the awards banquet last night. We finished with 75 players this past season. Of those 75, 17 received awards last night, which that was an amazing feat for us. It's something that most people don't expect from football players, especially at Muncie Central. Of that 17, I believe 12 of those 17 for their respective classes are in the top 10. Along with that, we've had 6 young men either sign or they're going to be signing to a university this upcoming year and will not be paying anything as far as loans, out of pocket, nothing like that. So I know our results on the field have not been what some people have expected, but what we're doing is working. Our culture is starting to change. Our standards are starting to get brought to the forefront, and we're doing everything that we can to continue to keep moving in the right direction. But I did want to ask, we do a lot of fundraising, and we're able to normally get a lot of things that we want and need through our fundraising. But we do have a small wish list of some things, and we know that obviously we can't get everything on this list, but just some of the things that would be, if possible, would be huge for us. One of the big things is a football jugs machine, and it's able to do a lot of different things as far as helping multiple position groups. And it's a little bit pricey for us to be able to spend as far as out of our own personal account. But it's something that a lot of the kids, they see other schools have it, and it's a huge resource and tool for us that if we're able to get that, it would be extremely helpful. And I have like a summary and a picture of what it looks like and how much it costs for everyone. So other than that, I thank you for allowing me your time, and I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thanks, Coach. Any questions for the coach?
Yeah, I didn't catch that. As you can tell, I'm a football player, but I didn't quite catch what you were asking for there.
It's a football, it's from Jugs Football. It's a football machine. Like it
Throws footballs.
shoots out passes.
Oh, it
It
throws.
for
Okay.
Receivers and tight ends and linebackers, defensive backs. It allows us to preserve the arm of our quarterbacks as well, because we're a little light on quarterbacks this year. So it just will allow us to be able to do more things. It allows punt returners and kick returners to be able to as well practice without us coaches throwing our arms out. And one in particular, Brad. No. But it's extremely beneficial. We had one that we had been using for the past 6 years, and it was 22 years old. We just found a way to keep working on it. We actually had some students at the MAC try to work on it this past school year to see if they could get it running, but it was not able to. So we're coming to you guys to see if we could potentially see if we could get that. So
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Anything additional? Anybody additional? No? Okay. Okay, we're on to the consent agenda. Do we have somebody additional? Go ahead.
Kind of the same things that Coach Lee had. I'm Michelle Stark. My son's a senior this year, but I did a lot of help with the football boosters and with track. I've helped with baseball, anything to do with the kids. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
It's all about the kids. But I wanted to thank you for giving me just a few minutes to touch base on some of the fundraising that he talked about. This year, we're trying to get some new headsets for the coaches. I've actually already got safety vests for the ball boys donated from local vendors, and we've got the trash cans that they would like for jerseys to soak, everything. Actually, some local vendors donated those to us as well. But there's some things that we're going to be presenting later on about doing some fundraising to help get the rest of that equipment that they would like, that they do not have. But I wanted to start off, publicly thanking Coach Lee for the impact that he has had on my son and continues to have. He has touched so many kids' lives, and for the betterment, not only on the field, but off the field. And, you know, that's one thing that that I've challenged actually some of the other coaches, because sometimes we get narrow-minded, that we just want to talk about our specifics, and Coach Lee doesn't do that. He reaches out to other sports and things of that sort. So, again, thank you very much. But I wanted to touch base too, that I don't know if you're aware, but I manage 830 mini warehouse storage units. And I had a customer that come in to rent a storage unit from me, and he noticed our senior poster hanging behind my desk. And he's like, "Oh, you support Central?" And I didn't even think about it. Yes. And he's like, "Does one of those belong to you?" And I pointed out my son, and I'm like, "Well, he does." I said, "Well, actually, all of them do." You know, because we want to take ownership, basically, of all the kids and say, "Hey, they're all our kids." But then he kind of got this, he kind of stopped and was like wondering if he should really ask me. And he's like, "What has happened to Central's athletics?" And I was kind of taken aback. And I wanted to be automatically defensive and say, "Well, what do you mean?" But in a way, he's right. If you go back and look, I mean, there's a lot of, we have so much talent in our kids, and it just seems like the coaches don't have the backing and to be able to accomplish great things. And I know I've said this before, and it's been repeated over and over and over to me by the kids, that they don't feel like they have the administration's backing, whether it be coaches or upper school administration or things of that sort. I had a student that actually waved me down. He was a football player, but he was running track, and we have coaches that are blocking our students, not allowing them to contact them. And I know it's not just in track, but also in baseball and everything else like that. I mean, what message is that sending to our students? And so I just kind of wanted to touch base on that, because I'm a firm believer in you can't hold somebody accountable until you say the words. And I think that's something that majorly needs to be looked at. And our current athletic director was approached, at least this student did tell me this. And I was like, "Well, did you talk to Mr. Lyon?" "Yes." And he said he would talk to him. And he approached him that evening when he flagged me down. And he just said, I told you I would talk to him. Well, this was sectionals. There was no other track meet after that. So again, it's message are we sending our students? And again, as he was saying, administration doesn't care about us. And so again, I've said this before, we have the talent, and I know Coach Lee is going to touch base on some program that and I just hope that you guys will back him strongly on this, because I believe it's something that can help our students in the long run. Nobody likes change. I mean, admittedly, I hate change, but I think it's necessary. But I just wanted to touch base because he asked me, actually Adonis is the student, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go and stand behind Coach Lee and I said, well, do you want me to stand up and tell your story? And he's like, yes. He goes, do I need to come? He wanted to come and tell his story. But I said, I'll speak for you. And he said, thank you. And he said, because I don't want to mess up my diploma, he said, because he's afraid that if they speak out, they're going to get in trouble. And I don't think that's a message that we need to send to the kids. We talk about bullying kids to kids, but have we really looked at, do the kids feel bullied themselves? So, but thank you very much for allowing me to talk for a few minutes. And
Okay. Ma'am, just a moment. Are you aware of any specific circumstance where a student has gotten in trouble or suffered consequences for speaking out?
no, I don't know any specifics. I'm just telling you I'm just telling you that's what the students, many
If you
students
have
have told me.
specifics where that occurred, where a student for registering, not here tonight publicly, but certainly bring that to the attention of Dr. Kwiatkowski.
Sure.
If there are specific circumstances where someone in administration or otherwise visited negative consequences on a student for expressing a grievance in an appropriate manner, then we need to know about that.
I will certainly have Adonis at least send it, because he specifically said that he went and he was told that he could dress. But then when he came to dress for that day, he was told that he might as well not, even though he was listed as an alternate for that track meet, he was told that he didn't need to bother coming out on the field.
I think we would,
So-
want to hear the specifics. There's not to be any retaliation against a student for a legitimately stated grievance at any circumstance.
And that's my purpose of saying that.
So
I will
if
have
that
him-
occurs, then that needs to be brought to the attention of Dr. Kwiatkowski so that it can be addressed promptly.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anything further? Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We recognize within the personnel items, I want to take a moment and recognize what is effectively 93 years of service to Muncie Community Schools. Sandra Burks, an elementary teacher at Westview Elementary School with 36 years of service. Linda Clark, a secretary at Central High School with 23 years of service. And Carol Myers, an elementary teacher at Longfellow with 34 years of service. So thank you to those individuals for their service. We have other items within the consent agenda, including option B under subpart G. Any questions regarding those items in the consent agenda? Hearing none, would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Been moved, seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so the consent agenda passes. We'll go on. Did I miss something? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just this corner.
Bless you. Bless you. Mr. Heater, as a member of the Compensation Committee, Superintendent, or pardon me, the CEO's Subcommittee for Compensation, Mr. Heater, will you address item 253 on the agenda?
I will, and thank you, President Williams. Our CEO Committee for Compensation met and have a recommendation, but I wanted to just take a minute and talk about the foundation of that recommendation. First off, thanking the state legislature for stepping to the plate, quite frankly, to a degree they have not in the past. And I think I speak for all of our board, but more importantly, all of our teachers, to say thank you for the increased funding. That legislation encourages us to keep increasing pay for teachers, something that we've been able to do over the last couple of years. But I think we all know is something that we need to continue to focus on. We have been able to create a great foundation, I think, over the past several years, both with reducing teacher turnover, increasing pay, and getting, because of that hard work from the teachers and the administration, the corporation into a position that we have the ability to do some things that we've wanted to do for a long time. With that, the following recommendation reflects our commitment to teachers, critical to what we do every day, and we are confident that our financial position allows us to do that. So the following is a recommendation from the Compensation Committee to the full board for approval, starting with the initial base pay for certified teaching staff at a minimum of $42,000, which is an increase from $38,500 this past year. Teachers with 1 to 4 years of experience will receive a base salary increase of $4,300. Teachers with experience of 5 to 10 years will receive a base salary increase of $4,200 and an additional base salary increase of $1,000. And I might add, that is an effort to recognize, and you'll hear that in the next couple sections. We know that there was a long period of time that people who, teachers who worked away in our system did not have the benefit of increases. And so this has been an opportunity for us to try to catch some of those teachers up over years. So just repeating, teachers with 5 to 10 years worth of experience will receive a total of $5,200 of salary increase for this coming year. Teachers with 11 to 19 years of experience will receive $5,000, which includes $1,000 as a catch-up. And teachers with 20 plus years of experience will receive $3,400 increase, which also includes the $1,000 base salary. So with that, on behalf of the Comp Committee, Mr. President, I make that motion for approval.
Okay. Would clarify for those watching online that the $1,000 addition for teachers from 5 to 10 years, 11 to 19, and 20 plus are for those faculty members who have between 5 and 10 years of MCS experience.
Yes, thank you. I apologize for
That's
that.
all right. For example, a teacher with 5 to 10 years of experience, there's a $4,200 base salary increase. For those teachers who are or have 5 to 10 years of MCS experience, there is an additional $1,000 to bring that total to $5,200. The same formula for 11 to 19 and 20 plus. So again, the $1,000 of additional base salary is for those faculty members who have provided at least 5 or between 5 and 10 years of service. And in reality, just to make sure that we don't confuse folks, we're going to have people, and Mr. Jerome, help me out here, who have, particularly those between 11 and 20 plus, who have greater than 10 years of service.
That's correct. And what you try to do is address those bands of teachers with the MCS experience between 5 and 10 years, and they get that extra $1,000.
Okay, okay. Make sure that everybody understood that. So this is the motion of the board. Are there any questions?
We need a second.
Need a second?
Second.
Dr. O'Neill. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Okay. The board is very pleased to pass this. The total cost of the raise is $1,346,900, and that's an estimated cost that will fluctuate slightly depending on faculty turnover. So again, we're pleased to be able to extend this raise for this year, and we will be revisiting it in subsequent years, obviously, as circumstances permit. We will address it likely in August, the issue of staff pay, which we know needs to be adjusted and will be adjusted. And for those who are listening tonight who do serve our students in that capacity, please understand that we will adjust that, and it will be retroactive as it was last year to the starting point of that contract. And administrators will then follow on after that. So any questions before we move along? Okay. We are on to the roof bid award.
Yes, thank you. Presented in your board package tonight, we had received bids on May 18th for roof projects at Muncie schools for later this summer and fall for Northview Elementary, as well as 2 sections of roof at Muncie Southside Middle School. We're certainly very pleased to report we did receive 2 bids for this project, and the low bid was McGuff Roofing from Muncie, Indiana, in the amount of $561,280, and that was less than the architect's estimate. So what we're asking the board to do tonight is accept that low bid plus the alternate that reduces the price for McGuff to $561,280 for this specific roof project. And the funds are paid from our construction bond fund, that we have the funds already available for that project.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Durham?
Yeah, right. There's different sections of those roofs. All those sections we're talking about at Northview as well as Southside Middle School, all of them dated back to the mid-1980s, and they were definitely on the list, needing the worst of our roofs to be replaced.
Any additional questions? Would entertain a motion. Been moved and seconded. Any additional questions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so that passed. Dr. Reynolds?
Yes, good evening. Just if I could, I'd ask for approval tonight to revise the current practice of allowing our Central High School students to earn 1 flexible physical education credit to 2 flexible PE credits. Just a little background, the PE flexible credit was an opportunity made possible by a 2009 State Board of Education rule change, and then defined in 2013 by the Indiana Department of Education. And then based on the board action in 2016, students were granted the flexibility to earn 1 of the 2 PE credits via flexible options, included participation in IHSAA sanctioned sports, MCJROTC, and summer marching band and guard. With your approval this evening, we would allow the students to have the opportunity to earn 2 credits based on the attachments based on the attachments to the memo, basically allowing folks to earn 2 credits in 2 separate activities. So If you earned one in track, and you could earn the other one in football, marching band, ROTC, but not two in the same. So really brought to me by the guidance counselors and Mr. Walker to just to give our students more flexibility to have a wider variety of course options and to knock out those credits even sooner.
Any questions? Would entertain a motion.
Move approval of the recommendation.
Okay, we'll count Mr. Irvins as the second. Mrs. Bales is the motion. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Dr. Reynolds, are you going to be at my office on the 27th?
Yes.
Okay.
Collecting devices and
For those who are watching again, we're collecting devices. We'll have a tent at 400 South Walnut. The parking lot's on the south side, among other places.
Yep.
I may even get a cooler of refreshments that day for you.
we might need an umbrella, but we'll see.
Do you have a tent?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can come inside and dry off now and then. So we're on to dialogue of the board. Coach, the jugs machine is $29.95 is what the cost of that is? Okay. And as I understood it, this was your only ask, is that right?
With the emphasis on was.
That's something that is that's more pressing, that's the top of our wish list. Our smaller battles, we can fight those later or ask about those later, but this is something that we really look forward to having. So that's definitely 1A, 1B. That's more of a need.
Okay. And like, if we get this, will you turn it up really high and let Mr. Heater catch some?
I sure will. You can be the first one to bring it.
What?
I said, thanks to the Ball Brother Foundation, we have another set of either home or away. We couldn't do both of them, but a new set of uniforms heading their way too. And that was thanks to the Ball Brothers Foundation.
Okay. We will take a look and see what, we will not use, we'll see what sort of private funding we can round up to see if we can get this. So you're starting workouts soon, right?
June 3rd.
June 3rd?
Yes, sir.
Boy, it doesn't seem possible.
Now, we don't need it immediately. It's not something that we need next week, but it's something that if we could get it before the summer is up, it'd be extremely helpful. We're still the first couple of weeks of getting our guys back acclimated to the heat and back acclimated to just running around and being as athletic as possible. So
Yeah.
we're not tired.
So catching comes like week 3.
Yeah, gotta make sure they're in shape first and know where they're going.
Okay. Don't they, do you remember Lester Hayes?
I'm sorry.
Do you remember Lester Hayes?
Yes, sir, actually.
Cornerback for the Raiders with lots of stickum? Just put some stickum on their hands, it'll work out. So. Okay. Okay, any additional dialogue? Thank you to the Compensation Committee. Thank you to Mr. Jerome and Dr. Kwiatkowski. I do want to take a moment and, again, indicate that it is our hope to continue putting ourselves in a position where we are able to recruit outstanding faculty members to Muncie Community Schools. It is our hope to continue being in a position to retain outstanding faculty members at Muncie Community Schools. And, you know, we have continued to try and address the inequities that developed over really the decade between 2009 and 2018. That's 10 school years. So we will take that up again hopefully next year and see where we stand. And with regard to athletics, on our list of items for the Facilities Committee includes facilities such as the football stadium and the track. So, and there will be attention given to those in the near term, we hope. So thank you. And I agree that athletics is an important component of any successful school corporation. And obviously, we want to do better. So we have that on our radar screen. Is there anything else? Mrs. Fales?
Yep, I just want to say a couple of quick things. First to Ms. Stark, please let those kiddos know that the people sitting at this table support them. If they don't feel like that is happening in their four walls, let them know that we've got their back, for sure. And then I also just want to say, as we approach these last couple days of school, thank you so much to our faculty and staff. This has been such a chaotic and crazy year, but you would never have known it in our schools. The teachers just rise to the challenge, as they always do, and so do the students. And so I'm so proud that we were able to be in school face-to-face all year and finish strong this week. So thank you so much to the faculty and staff who made that happen. I so appreciate you.
Absolutely. And, you know, on that same note, with regard to those folks here, Dylan Phelps, Dr. Reynolds, Mr. Jerome, Dr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Klotz, who else do we have over there? Becky. You guys have worked really countless hours in keeping, you know, the larger train on the tracks and operating. So thank you. I've been extremely proud as I look around the state and around some of those systems that are even closer to us, and have been very, very proud of Muncie Community Schools in terms of how they've managed this year. So thank you all. With that, Mr. Klotz, any media questions? Okay.
We're good.
Oh, they were going to text you? I knew that would be figured out eventually. So, okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Some second, moved in second. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Post same sign. Okay, we're adjourned.